And it's 1-1 at the interval here in Edinburgh in the City derby. Were Hearts comfortable until they conceded the penalty?
Yes, they were, David, and before they conceded the penalty, they should have been in easy street, let's be honest. They created lots of chances, but not just half chances, very good chances to score more goals. But you always run the risk, David, when you don't take your chances, that you're going to get punished. And later on, they were punished.
How much of a chance have Hibernian got now, given that they've got a one-man advantage and all the possession since that red card?
Well, the pendulum swung now in Hibs' favour. There's no doubt they're in a massive position now to go and put a stranglehold on the game first and foremost, but to suddenly get a result in an Edinburgh derby that all these fans in Easter Road are certainly craving for.
Hearts took the lead on 24 minutes through Ryan Stevenson. How much of it was down to Andy Driver's work in the wing?
Well, it's good to see Andy back. He's missed a lot of football, but because he's such a danger, David, he gets the ball there, he's dragging men towards him. He puts in a decent cross, well defended, you have to say, but take nothing away from Ryan Stevenson's finish. And I think, you know, you can overlook it a little bit when you just watch it for the first time. But it's a half volley. It's a difficult technique to execute. But what he does extremely well here, he gets his body right over the top of it. He keeps it low and puts his team 1 up.
The Hibs fans will be wondering if they should have had so much space at the quadrant there.
Yeah, well, as a fullback, David, as a defensive unit, when the cross is coming into the box, you have to go in and make a covering position. But Ryan Stevenson's been clever. He's went and he's tucked back out. He's found himself in a little bit of space, but it's still a lot to be done from there. Takes a good first touch and finishes magic.
What about the amount of chances for Stephen Elliott? Should he have taken 1, 2, even 3 of them before that goal?
Yes, well, he did have lots of chances, and it's Andy Driver again. He's using his pace and he gets his head up, and it's a clever cutback. And as Andy says in commentary there, I think he's just almost trying to find a target. This one here is a little bit, you know, I don't think he sees it coming quickly enough, doesn't quite react. But Hearts kept getting chances, they didn't take them, and later on, as I said, they were punished. But this one is a penalty.
That's a foul by Hanlon then?
Yes, it's a big decision by Ian Brines, but Hanlon just the wrong side, puts his foot up, there's a contact, and the way he goes down, you can tell that Stephen Elliott's had contact on his foot. But, you know, it's a tight decision. The referee's possibly in the wrong angle, doesn't quite see it. Hibs got off the hook, but they get themselves back into the match later on by a crazy decision for me by Marius Zaliukas.
So, for the penalty given at the other end, David, was the goalkeeper blameless in all this? Because Zaliukas looked to be blaming the goalkeeper.
Yeah, for me, as soon as the ball goes to come in from Riordan, watch Marius Zaliukas pointing. He wants Jamie McDonald to come and take that, but there's not enough pace, there's not enough depth on the ball through that Jamie McDonald can come and take it. And then from there on in, Marius Zaliukas is trying to make ground up, and he takes a crazy decision to bring Sodje down. And again, a big game, big pressure moment. Liam Miller's had to re-spot the ball twice, you know, so there's more pressure on him, but he stroked it away and got his side back in it.
Templeton was sacrificed in the immediate aftermath of the red card. Will that be a miss for Hearts?
Yes, it's a miss, but I have to say he's been pretty quiet, David. Yeah. I think out of the 2 wingers, it's been Andy Driver, it's been more prominent. But now it's about Hibs. Hibs now must use a numerical advantage. If I was Colin Caldwell, I would slightly narrow his midfield in order to bring Hearts midfield in, and then you're going to get Callum Booth up one side and Richie Towell up the other. That will provide the ammunition into the box. OK, but it's Hearts who've got it all to do at half-time in the away dressing room here. Jim Jeffries, well, he's won 4 out of 4 derbies since he returned to Hearts, but he's got to rely on all his experience, given that his side are now down to 10 men. Well, Hibs are on form and hoping for their first derby win in almost 2 years, but it was Hearts who had the early chances and took the lead when Ryan Stevenson scored in the middle of the first half. But the game was turned on its head when Marius Zaliukas, the Hearts captain, was red-carded. Liam Miller's penalty gave Colin Calderwood his first derby goal in charge of Hibernian, and it's 1-1 at the break. How do Hibs build on the turning point, the red card, and the possession they've enjoyed up to the break? Well, it's just important to use the man advantage now, David. As I said, if they can, as it's been happening, and since the penalty, they've started to narrow the midfield and really stretch Hearts in the areas, in the wide areas, advancing the fullbacks and Towell and Booth on the other side. They have to keep doing that. What about Hearts now? What will Jeffries be saying to his players? what's important, they keep their discipline, because what they can't afford to do is lose another player. And sometimes in the heat of a derby, you can lose a bit of discipline. So it's important that they keep their heads, stay cool, keep trying to play, but they must do it in advanced areas, David. If they keep dropping back and forcing Hibs on top of them, then they run the risk of losing another goal.
Now, Hibs' possession was something like 75% after the red card. Now, that must be alarming for Jim Jeffries, the way that his team couldn't go.
I think it's just a reaction, David, on losing a man, losing a goal, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we need to defend now, we need to sit back. But Jim Jeffries had a good word with him in the changing room there, and I'm pretty sure they'll come out full of spirit again.
But it's not Hearts who make changes at the interval. It's Hibernian. There's Ricardo Vaz-Tey making his final preparations. What will Colin Calderwood be thinking about there, Neil?
Oh, I'm unsure yet of who's going to come on for. I'm just thinking possibly Soji, but maybe one of the players are carrying a knock. But if he comes on, he's got a big game ahead of him. He's got to come in and make an impact, David.
Will he be making changes because of how poor Hibernian were before the red card?
No, I don't think so. I think Hibs have definitely taken a lift from the red card that Hearts have received and resulting penalty. But I'm just pretty sure that Colin Calderwood will be wanting to make advantage of the one man up, and he'll be pushing forward. And if that substitution is through an injury, then I just wonder if his shape might change.
It's Martin Scott who's gone off for more on that in the second half. Let's rejoin Andy Walker and Ian Crocker.